1.63, that's the number. That's what they just said. We've had 1.63 inches of rain. Finally, freaking finally. It has been so dry here. It was glorious too. I'm somebody where I cannot hold still inside the house if it's sunny out. So it's been like, I don't know, 3 months of just being like, I have to be outside and I have to be doing things. And I don't know why I get like that, because then things fall behind in the house. I'm trying to make the most of the time stuck inside. I know it needs new lights. I get it. We'll get through it. It's gonna be so good for the plants. They finally get some hydration, because it had just reached a point where it didn't matter. Like I was watering and watering and watering, and they were just looking like garbage. It just wasn't cutting it. You're just gonna fall right back over, aren't you? Anyways, hey, what's up, gardening friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. I think we're gonna have to be doing some stuff inside, or maybe out in the grow space for a while, because it's just supposed to keep doing this. And I'm not mad about that. We can do it, look at through the window. You can go through and see, look at that. Tropicals, still very, very happy. Doing their thing, growing, looking pretty good. Oh, the croton blew over again. Looking at the 10-day forecast, I'm not gonna have to move these in for, well, at least 10 days. Coolest temps are like mid-40s. I don't worry about that with anything that I have left out there. So yes, it's just business as usual. I was hoping that there would be a dry enough period to run to a nursery and pick up some evergreens, but I don't think there's going to be, but that might happen. I would really like to do that this week, but oh well, I got really dirty just touching that croton. Wipe that off. Ultimately, that would be my goal, would be to go do some plant shopping. Like I said, it's just weather dependent, right? Can't really go to the garden centers, nurseries, if it's raining out. So we'll see what happens. Windmill palm's looking good through this window. I love that windmill palm. And the pumpkin, y'all haven't even gotten to see the end. Would you say hi, pumpkin? You say hi? You don't want to say hi? All right. No surprise there. Got the garden window all cleaned out. This was full of plants and looked beautiful. But I had to pull them out because and start setting up the holiday things over here at some point. Yes, more rain. That's what I want to see. It's gonna keep raining. Have a lot of family coming in town for Christmas this year, so thought it would be a good idea to get a jump start on things. Looks like I need to put water in the fish tank too. Always so many things that need to be done. I have some garland to put up over here. I'm doing a Christmas tree inventory because the basement over the years has just kind of filled up with Christmas trees that I found on clearance. So I figured bring them all up, get them plugged in, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then, you know, get rid of or give away the ones that don't work or don't fit in here anymore. This is what I was able to get done yesterday. It's not much, but I think that it looks pretty good. Well, it is. It's a lot, maybe too much, but good to have it done. It feels weird because it does not feel like winter at all. I mean, technically it's not winter, it's fall, but usually over the last several years by now it's pretty cool outside, but nope, not this year. So looking out the window and seeing tropicals, which I'm not mad about. I'm just thrown off about it. You know, this used to be the way that it was here, or at least I guess my prime years when I was getting into gardening. Which would have been like, I don't know, probably when I was like 12 years old up into my mid-20s, so up until like 10 years ago, it was pretty normal that the tropicals were outside until usually around the week of Thanksgiving, and then out of nowhere we'd have like an ice storm or something around late November, and then you'd have to move them in. But then, like I said, for the last 10 years or so, it's been pretty typical that I've had to move everything inside by mid to late October. And I haven't loved that. I had forgotten what this life was like, and it's nice having it back. I was talking about in the garden tour about how odd it feels that these cannas are still blooming and growing, and some of the gingers are still blooming and growing as well. They're looking kind of upset right now because, you know, wind and rain. They haven't had much rain in a while, so they're sort of splayed out. That's okay, it's the end of the growing season. But I had forgotten, you know, that these plants will keep doing that this time of year. It's so nice. So nice. But yeah, that's why the window's cleared out, because I'm going to be setting up some stuff. I would like to find some big white orchids or something to put in here and have like gingerbread houses and stuff. No. Not going to do Christmas decorating on the channel, just letting y'all know what I've been doing because I can't really do anything outside. I did. Hey, hi. Nothing? You gotta leave? Okay. I did, as I was saying, get another weird plant setup grow light thing from Temu. Talked about that, and not last week's video, but the video prior, how I had ordered a few different ones that were relatively inexpensive, and I thought it'd be interesting to try them out, because I used Temu for my stocking stuffers this year. There's going to be a lot of people here for Christmas this year, which is really exciting, but oh my gosh, stockings get so expensive. So that's the only time I'll really use that website, is when it's like a party favor kind of situation. Otherwise, prefer to not. Or if there are products that I'm seeing on Amazon, but for cheaper on Temu, like just cutting out the middleman, the drop shipper for the products. But this, I thought it looked cool and stupid and impractical. You can see what it is. It's a ring light sort of situation. You can put a few plants in the middle. So, I don't know, I guess we set this up. Need my tripod. It's out there. I left it. It's outside in the rain. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to go out and get them. Probably didn't need to bring the camera with me. That's the smartest thing to do. Oh, I should do garland and lights. No, stop it. Said we're not doing Christmas right now. Nope. Because I know for some of y'all it's too early. I can understand that. But at the same time, people started advertising and decorating for Halloween in, like, what was it? August, late July this year. So I don't really feel too bad about talking about Christmas stuff in November. But that's not what I'm trying to do. Oh, it's slippery. So I want to stand up, get my leg under it. There we go. Whew. Not going to rehydrate very well if it's laying on its side, right? I love the way the Eureka palm looks in the rain. The yellow and everything comes out so nicely on the trunks. This is almost ready to go. We'll give it a couple more days. Can't wait to peel that off. Oh, you too. You blew over too. It's the second time this one's blown over. It's been blown over a lot lately. Let's see if I can't stand that up from back here. There we go. That's better. Get some hydration. Set my tripod in a puddle. Oh, wow. Oh, pool's full. Might need to drain that down some. Don't need the patio to flood. Okay, I'm gonna dry this off, get set up, and we can pop open this package and see what's going on in there. Okay. You can't see the dishes in the sink, can you? It's only like 3 spoons, but people could be looking at my mess over here. So here's what this is. It's a plant growth decorative lights, is what it says. And I think the description for this said something along the lines of it being a hydroponic setup. That seems like a stretch, but I don't know, maybe it is. I mean, I guess, well, if it's growing fully in the water, that would make it a hydroponic setup. I also realized I just walked away from the camera and went to the drawer and didn't even think to cut the camera. That was probably really boring, just staring at a box. So let's see what's going on in here. It's okay. Well, that's about what I expected. Oh, okay. Doesn't stand up on its own. That could be a problem. But it's just the bubble wrap, right? That's all that's going on there. It's just because it wasn't even, hopefully. I wonder if this came with a power brick. The last grow light that I got from Temu had a power brick with it, and I thought that that was a nice touch, because it feels like nothing comes with power bricks anymore. They just give you the USB, which is okay, but you have to make sure you have an extra power brick to plug things into. Got instructions for the remote control. All right, and then this is just, well, it's just like saran wrapped on here. So I need to find the other end of that. Try and get it off of there. It's like scratching the glass. Through and just poke that through. Wow, I need to change this blade. That's pretty pathetic. She'll do better than that. Okay, so now, how do you get this stuff out from the inside? If this is supposed to be watertight, then, oh, well, I bet this just lifts off. There we go. Not rocket science. Looks like there's 3 different sponges in here that I assume you cut to, oh, you don't even have to cut them. Looks like they'll just pull apart. So this is probably something you would want to use more for rooting cuttings, which I think that's kind of neat to just have your own little setup for getting things rooted. Yeah, no power bricks. I'm gonna have to find a power brick to plug this into in order to see what it does. And I don't know if I have any cuttings that I want to use in this either. So there's no instructions other than what to do with the remote control. Is that right? Operation manual of Magic Lantern app. I won't be using the app. I do not download apps with things that come from Temu and a lot of just, you know, random Chinese products. I don't usually use the apps. Let me read this over and come back. Okay, well that was a pretty quick and easy read because there's not much to it. It's mostly directions on how to use the lights, and it was saying that with these things, these little pods right here, those come out, and then you take your cutting, you put it in the sponge, you put the sponge inside the basket, like so, and you just drop it in here. There's some little notches that you line up, push down into place, and then you add water, and just, you know, that's it. I don't really know what else to do with this. I hadn't really thought about what kind of cuttings I'd want to put in here. I guess I have these Syngoniums back here that I can take some cuttings from. I have a video that's going to come out at some point where I went through this vase and cleared a whole bunch of those out and propagated them. And I noticed last night when I was just poking around those videos that for some reason, I spent the entire video calling these podophyllums. I mean, Syngonium podophyllum, but I think that for some reason in my mind I was thinking about my May apples, which is not even close to what these things are. But that's where my mind was. That's what I ended up calling them. This got a big prune. This already had a lot of stuff going on in it. I'm gonna trim that, some dead roots. And then take those off. This was getting very, very, very full, which is full of leaves smashed up against the glass. So now, that might be too big. But I'm gonna do it anyways. I think it's fine. Follow the directions. See if I can get this down in here. It looks like the sponge, it has a little, there's the lens, right there. You see what's going on there? It has a slit in it to help get your stems in there, but I don't think that's gonna cut it for this. I think this might be too big, potentially. Yeah, no. Looks like that's going in there okay. Nice firm piece of stem. Push that down in here. Set it back into the mechanism. And do you guys want me to find more things to try and prop inside of here? I can do that. I'm probably just go find some pothos cuttings or something out in the grow space. All right, these are probably going to be too big, but I did think that it would be nice to have some more of these maculatas. These are maculata double dot. Look at the leaf on these. If the lighting was better, well, that's not too bad. You can see it. It's just a very heavily spotted maculata. Lots and lots of color. Isn't that a beautiful leaf? So nice. What I'm gonna do, pull some leaves off. Go ahead and get those off of there too. I would think that, you know, no more than 3 to 4 on each one of these. And then come in, cut this down some. It does not need that much stem to try and have to support. Where's my sponge? Here's my sponge. Grab a couple of these. I'm trying to do this as much in real time as possible because I'm taking this setup way too seriously. It's a Temu product. I don't know how many of y'all will actually even be interested or go forward to get it, but this way it's more representative. Right? That's not the right word. Better representation. That's what I was trying to say, of how long it takes to get things set up. The only cuts I've been making has been when I've been going out to get supplies. That one's kind of stuck in there. Not surprised by that. Figure it's going to take some time and finesse to figure out the proper angles for everything because of the little perforations that are in here. Where are those perforations? I can feel them when I'm trying to set these inside that tray back there, but I don't actually see them, which is weird. Usually you'd be able to see something like that. Let's just turn it, twist it, lock it into place, and make sure you guys can actually see what I'm doing there. All right, yeah, not much to it. Something I am very curious about with this, and also just realizing, is how watertight is it? Right? I mean, it's not a really high quality product, so I probably should have checked the seal on that before doing any of this, but oh well, here we are. I am not adding any type of rooting stimulant or anything in here, which is kind of going against the grain for me. I would like to add something, but there's no circulation. That's something that I think is unfortunate. I would like for this to have an air pump of some kind. I think that some bubbles in there would look neat. So, I mean, that's just overall aesthetically, I think it would look cool. And having circulation around those roots is going to get them rooted more quickly too. Oh, I think that was just about the perfect amount of water. Probably going to want to make sure these sponges are pushed down fairly far since they're wicking up moisture where you want it to go. And like, okay, I need to get this plugged in. I bet half y'all are just wanting to see what the lights look on this, right? Okay, it's plugged in. This looks like it can be operated from this button right here. Back it up so you can see that better. Or the remote control. Or the remote control. Or the remote, nothing's happening. Okay, maybe it's just the remote control. Let's see. On. Nothing's happening. Is this a bad power brick? I just unplugged something from the power brick in order to use this. Nothing's happening. Huh, I'm gonna find a different power brick. Okay, we have some lights. I plugged it into a new power brick and now it's actually doing something. It would really limit the space. Oh wow, that's just a full-on light show. Plants are gonna love that. That's what plants want, is to feel like they're at a rave. Oh, I enjoy that. That's very pleasing to my eyes. Look at all the colors going on in there. Are any of these set up to actually be grow lights? Because if not, then this is completely and totally stupid. It's just a reservoir for you to put things in with a light around it. A light that doesn't benefit anything. Ha. Huh. Wow, okay, well there are a lot of different functions for the lights, but not seeing any that are helpful to getting the plant to grow. Same thing with remote control here. It has timers on it, so you can set it to run for an hour, or 2 hours, or 4 hours. Can we just go blue? We can just go blue. What about just white? Can we get some white? Okay, I don't hate that spectrum. It's not the easiest to see because it's daytime. Okay, whoops, wrong button. Wrong button, okay, back it up. I accidentally hit speed when I was trying to hit the intensity. So that's as bright as they go. Dims down. Not all that bright, okay. So, that's set up. I like that it has a timer. I think it looks neat. There are definitely some things I would change about this for sure. For one, I think it would be great if the lights had an option for them being grow lights. Since they don't, this needs to stay someplace with plenty of sunlight, which is going to be great for this reservoir of water down here that's clear. Yeah, that's going to get full of algae and not look pretty for a very long time, that's for sure. I don't know. It's neat. I think it was, when I got it was $18.99. I don't know what the price is now. The prices are always shifting around on things. You could just as easily just take your cuttings and put them in a glass of water, right? But you don't have this neat lamp around them. I suppose the lamp part, like, that's not going to hurt the plants as long as it's not on for a long time, right? And I do like that there's a 1 hour option on the timer too, because usually things go in increments of like 3, 6, and so forth, or like 6 hours, 12 hours. Sometimes there's an 8 hour in the mix. So you can have things go for a shorter period of time, which is better because it's not going to be as harmful to the plants if you're just, you know, having the light on for a little while at nighttime. It's a little light show. I would imagine the intensity of this white light probably isn't enough to do much for these plants. So I'm saying I think this is going to have to stay in the sun. But I will get this set up someplace that doesn't get a lot of light and just let it go off of that white light that's on there. And I'll report back at some point someday and see what's going on with the cuttings. I'm not going to do much to baby this thing. We're just going to keep the reservoir full. Maybe if it gets really dirty, I'll clean it up. And I may end up dipping these in a gel to get them going, just because there's not much else going on here as far as light's concerned. And I didn't put any nutrient down below, so I think they would benefit from having a boost of some kind to get them started. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they'll grow. These are all plants I think would be fun to have more of. But like I said, we'll report back in the future and see what happens. Talking like, I don't know, I'm going to give it a month or two and just see what goes on with it. Oh, you see that? Sun. The sun's out. it's been 3 days. Okay, I know it looks kind of gloomy and cloudy, because it is, but this is the most sun we've seen in a while. Not that I'm complaining. How much have I been talking about how badly we've needed the rain over the last several weeks? It's been 3 days, I think, since I did the little planter thing that's hidden behind all the Lysol bottles I was just refilling. It was just rain and rain and rain. I think we got somewhere between 8 inches and a foot. There was a lot of flooding, so there were some people where the rain wasn't such a good thing, but man, we really needed it. Big time needed it. A lot has happened in the last few days. That's what's going on. Don't worry, not going to talk about it's a gardening channel. Going to stick to more lighthearted things. I have another package here that I meant to open up when I popped that one open, but there wasn't really a reason because this is solar powered and it's just been, you know, gloom and rain. But things are kind of sunny, so maybe I'll be able to put this thing to use. I don't know. Did I already open this? The tape's already cut. I have no memory of already opening this. It's been a very busy few days. Now that it got cloudy, I've been able to get stuff done in the house, and I've been just working overtime trying to get stuff done. So this is it's a solar-powered bird bath that I'm sure isn't of the highest quality because, you know, Temu, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I thought it might be fun. This was an impulse buy when I was getting all the stocking stuffer things. Oh, that's a tiny pump. Look at how cute and tiny that pump is. It's freaking adorable. Freaking adorable. I cut myself off there. Yeah, can't do much with anything solar powered without light, right? This is a lot of parts. Oh, and I think it's probably safe to assume that just like everything else I've gotten from this website, there's probably not going to be any directions in here. Everything just kind of shows up in a package and you just got to figure it out. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to try and figure this out. I guess I could bring you along. Might be entertaining watching me probably more than likely screw this thing up. It's here's the base. It's very plasticky. So in the picture, of course, this looked like a beautiful glass bowl, which it is not. I also don't remember there being flowers on it. But, you know, hey, maybe you've got a grandma or someone who could really use a nice gift. This would be good for them. Oh, okay, there's screws involved. And drywall anchors. Okay, so I guess that's if you want to hang this from the wall. These are layers, and there's what the heck is going on here? I have no idea how this all fits together. I assume that this probably goes with the solar panel, but there's no, how do you, that's not gonna work. There's this guy here, which is what you would use to probably put a different stake together. Is there a slider to go on top of this? If there's no slider, then the stake is useless for the solar, yeah, the stake is useless for the solar panel. These look like different heads that can go on top of this fountain, which is cool. But how do what's the point? That's not gonna work, right? I'm gonna poke around some more. Oh, it was right next to me. There's this right here. All right, so figuring out the solar panel. This stuff, pretty straightforward because, you know, that's how all the solar panel things work. Okay, that's done. Okay, good. That's nice. Have the pump maybe figured out. I'm thinking that this is a base that would go onto some tubes or something. Is this like this? Is that gonna? No, that's not gonna work. Gosh, there are directions. It was one of the first, almost said first, one of the first things I pulled out of the package. I was being so pessimistic since there wouldn't be any directions. Okay. Even though I'm seeing the directions, I don't really feel like paying attention to them. 1, 2, plate, 1, plate, yellow thing. I can do that. I say it with way too much confidence, as if I'm going to remember that. But directions are right next to me. I hope that wasn't too loud. Is this too loud on the microphone? I hope not. If it is, I'm sorry. That was 1, 2, these two right here. And then big plate that I assume goes like this. No, does it go like that? No, maybe like, oh, probably this side. That is not a secure fit at all. Don't see that holding on. But maybe you do this? Yeah, okay, so that pushes them together. This one goes on top, and then yellow thing. Yellow thing doesn't fit on here. Did I do this upside down? I couldn't have done it upside down. The pieces wouldn't go together. Maybe I have to use this thing. Put that in there. That will hold it in place, but then does yellow thing fit on there? No, yellow thing doesn't fit on there. What the heck? Okay. Pretty sure I did some things backwards here. Maybe. It looks like on the pump piece right here, this piece goes onto that. Let's see if I can get it back off there. I hope I didn't just screw myself over. Is that gonna be stuck on there? Pulling as hard as I can. Ow, fingernail. It didn't feel very good. So this goes on here as an adapter, which feels unnecessary because the tubes did fit on this without having to do that. And then this piece can go upside down onto there. And then it should, in theory, not in theory, I mean according to the directions, that means that that piece will snap on like so. Would it be helpful if y'all could actually see what I'm doing? Pardon the cat food, by the way. My cat, she'll only eat off of a napkin. I don't know why. Just doesn't like sticking her face in the bowl. I guess that's her thing. Then this one would go up here. It feels fairly secure, which means this one should fit all the way through. And then the diffuser, sorry, none of this is centered. The diffuser right here. There we go. So you have to have that diffuser on there, and also need to make sure that these are going the right direction, which that one is not. I already screwed this up. How did I already screw this up? I need to flip that around. It'd be amazing if I actually get this thing together without breaking any of the pieces from having to take it apart constantly. Part of this is because I keep looking at the camera to make sure everything's in focus and not paying attention to what I'm doing here. There we go. Well, that's beautiful. Hint of sarcasm there. In the directions, it has this thing sitting in this base, which I don't, why would you have this sitting in the base? This isn't gonna hold enough water. Look how high the pump is up above that. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way this tiny little pump can handle that small amount of water. So that goes in here. Oh, I bet this needs to be in there for some stability though. That would make some sense. Something I also thought was interesting is that there are different solar panels you can use with this, different voltages and wattages, various levels of power. This is the most basic one. It talks about battery in this, but there's no battery. This is just straight up solar. It's nice when they have the battery though, right? Because when they have the battery on them, you can have like some backup power for when it's shady outside, but that's okay. So the rest of this, these are different fountain heads that you can put on. Like this thing, you snap these things on and have different spray patterns. I kind of want to check out the 3-tier thing. It's, well, it's tacky, but I think it's interesting. And somehow, somewhere, I should be able to just clip these things on here and then have a nice hanging bird bath. Okay, let's go outside and test it out. Already took it out. That's why it's not there anymore, because it's already outside. Are you ready to go? Yeah, I know. We haven't been outside in days. Poor Turbo. He's been outside. I haven't had him trapped in the house. Wouldn't do that to the dog. But all this rain, haven't been able to walk or anything like that. I haven't even looked at the garden in days. Oh, that's not good. Gonna need to fix that. Gonna have a rotten cordylan. All right. I'm not bothering hanging this up because I don't really have a spot to hang it up just yet. This might be more of a, hey, this will be fun in the springtime kind of thing. Got some water in here. It did say that this pump, you might have to take the fountain off to get it primed and then put it on after the pump starts, which is pretty normal for these little pumps. If you ever had like a cat or a dog fountain, sometimes they do that. If they connect to a tube, you gotta remove the pipe to get them going. I'll just take the solar panel, flip it over. I hear it. Do you hear it? It's trying to do something. I don't think y'all can hear it. Is it even, are we recording? Yes, we're good. Just need to pop this off of here and let it prime. Might not be enough sun. Yeah, I don't think it's enough sun. It's pretty gloomy. It was nice and sunny when I started, but the clouds moved out. I never know if I'm supposed to take the film off of these solar panels. Try and angle this up some more. Come on. This is why it'd be nice if there was a battery backup and also a suction cup. Suction cup would have been a nice touch on this thing. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait. Hopefully the sun will come out and this thing will start doing something. I spent all that time, 10 minutes of this video dedicated to this bird bath fountain and no sun. There was sun when I started, to be fair, and then the clouds moved in. It was very sunny. It was like blindingly sunny. I wasn't doing this to torture you, I promise. That's okay. We'll just keep waiting. Sun will come out. In the meantime, really do need to make sure to do something about this. I'm wondering, has this had poor drainage all season long? That would explain why the heliconia that was in here was doing so incredibly well. They had a heliconia in this pot that was just thriving. And maybe it's because it was just sitting in water all summer. That wouldn't shock me. What is that? I think that's a piece of siding or something. We'll have to figure that out later. What's going on down here? Where's the drainage hole? Oh yeah, that's all muck and mud. There you go. I can hear the water moving through it. It's probably just going to keep clogging up though. We have to keep an eye on that. Might need to drill a bigger hole in it. Can y'all see it? Can you see the hole? Yeah, that's just going to keep filling up as the stuff drains down. Maybe that would be a smart thing to do before planting this thing up for winter. I was planning on doing some winter containers out here. Obviously not yet. 10-day forecast is still looking like the coldest temperature is going to be like 40, maybe 38. I am prepping the grow space because I'm thinking that it's going to be like any day now that I'm going to get one of those forecasts where it's like, oh, it's going to be like 25. When that happens, have to move everything in. You guys just don't want to stand up anymore, huh? What's that about? The pots aren't like bent or anything. Did you just get a lot of wonky growths you want to twist? I'm sorry, kitten. I'm so sorry. Very distracting. Doesn't like all that stuff going on from outside the window. Can I reach this one? Can I get it? Almost. I'll just pull this out. It doesn't need to be right there right now anyways. You can just set it somewhere else where it's not going to be tipping over all the time. Yeah, this one's kind of got some curve to its growth. Not a lot, but it does look like you can see where it's sort of twisting in that direction, which makes sense because, you know, the thing kept falling over. I think they just did so much growing that they're getting top heavy for these containers. I'm going to set these someplace where they are opposite the direction of the sun so they can stretch themselves, not stretch, but lean themselves back in the right direction. It's one of the nice things about the Cordyceps, these Freticosas, is they are pretty adaptable. I had mentioned, I think in the last garden tour, which would have been a video or two before this one, that I'm thinking about bringing these in this winter and just putting them someplace that's more on the dark side and dry side and letting them just barely tick and make it through the winter time, because these can defoliate completely. As long as you keep the stems alive, they'll flush back out when it gets nice and warm outside. I wouldn't call it a dormancy because they would not really like a dormancy. They're a true tropical. You can grow them in somewhat subtropical conditions, but for a short period of time, like maybe you could get them by like that for 2 or 3 months. So it's like you need to keep them looking good for a while, for a few months, and then after that you can just kind of let them lull back and bring them back out when it's nice and warm, or I can move them to the grow space. The main thing is just, I've talked about the pests on these, but it would be such a shame to let them go because they've grown so much. They look so good. They're really nice, big, healthy plants, and the Harlequins aren't ones that I see for sale all that often. Usually just see the, was it Red Sister, which is just kind of meh, in my opinion, maybe because I've seen it so often. I don't know. And it's not a cheap plant either, right? So I don't want to treat these like annuals and let them die and get new ones next year. May as well try, but I'm not going to be putting them in the grow space. Not likely, because they're just too hard to keep free of pests out there. I'm going to try and find a spot in the house for them where maybe they'll do okay. And if they don't, then oh well, try it, right? Sorry, my brain right now, because I'm talking about one thing and my face is looking around looking at all the other things that need to be handled, like this lutea. It looks terrible. I might go ahead and move this into the grow space because it's just not happy out here. I think that it's really struggling with the lack of warmth that we're having, kind of like this cordyceps that's back here. Nothing over here in this spot seems very happy. This one looks awful. What's that about? That one almost looks like it took some kind of cold damage that none of the others took. Is this just is this a cold spot in the corner? Might be. Also, maybe it's just rotting. It might be rotting. Yeah, I think the best thing to do for the lutea, look at this. I mean, see all the brown and everything that's in there? Would be to just get this guy out of here and take it in and give it some warmer conditions. Although the grow space isn't that warm because there's no heat. The heater's broken, busted. Have to order a new one, but it's warmer than being out here. Or I could maybe just find a warmer spot to set it. Perhaps, because apparently there's a cold pocket back there. Weird, right? So you would think up against the house in a little corner there'd be a little oven or something, but the two plants are right next to each other. This one, it had cold damage that I cut off a while ago. I think that was in a video. And this corner that was right next to it really looks like it's got cold damage and rot of some kind, which could be just from being too moist, but it wasn't too moist. I mean, this one's getting less water than any of the others. It's tucked away kind of underneath that step. I think it'll be okay. If not, I have 3 others that are doing wonderfully. Look at that one. It's so pretty. Sun, is that enough? Anything happening over here? Nope. Okay, so apparently it needs to be really sunny because it's definitely not cloudy, overcast, I guess you would say. Pumps do take a lot of energy, so I'm not shocked that it's taking some extra stuff to get that up and going. Okay, you done? Yes, you're done. Yeah, there's a lot of debris and stuff built up in the bottom of this container. Some soil. I think what I may end up doing is just putting a piece of the screen over the hole as opposed to trying to trying to drill out a bigger hole. Just seems easier. Don't really want to mess with these pots. I'm pretty sure these were labeled as being frost proof, but I can't remember. They're Tommy Bahama pots that I got from Home Goods. You know, they don't always have like the best labels. What's the tag say? I'm using y'all. Just says compare at $49.99. Compare at $80 for $49. Where's the... I'm sure I don't have an actual label on these anymore. On this side, anything? No, you can see where the label was on there and I pulled it off. I'm pretty sure they said something about being ones that can handle the frost. I'll Google it. Not that... I doubt Tommy Bahama's website's going to say about pottery, but never know. Oh, something's happening. Something's happening. Let's go ahead and get this on here. See if it will do its thing. Hey! That's fun. Not at all anticlimactic. I think it's neat. Got a good amount of splatter to it, but it's not centered. Scoot it over. Yeah, not perfectly even, but also this thing was like $20. Wasn't expecting all that much out of it. It does have a nice sparkle. That was, I think, what drew me to it was the blue base on it, which I thought would be glass. Plastic is, I mean, really probably better for longevity. Well, glass is better for the environment and for longevity, but as far as this being something that's going to swing around and get knocked around, will be less likely to break, is what I meant. That's cool. It would be nice if it had a battery on it, but at the same time, like I said, pumps take a good amount of energy, so who knows how far a battery backup of any kind would go on this. Well, it's not bad. I can see birds maybe enjoying that. There's not much of a place to perch, and it's going to move around an awful lot. I think this is more of just a for funsies kind of fountain. Could be something where, you know, I mean, they sell these solar-powered fountains all over the place. I just wanted to see if it would start up on its own. Or do I have to pull that tube out every single time the water gets low? Yeah, it looks like it's able to go again. Good. Sounds nice. It's peaceful. Let me get my microphone up here so y'all can hear it. Kind of peaceful. It also just sort of sounds like water splashing against plastic. Yeah, I've always been curious about the solar-powered fountains. They sell a lot of these things to set inside your bird baths and just like random DIY fountains that people maybe want to set up on their patio or deck, someplace where you don't have electric to plug in a pump. And I just kind of figured that just didn't seem reliable because, like I said, pumps can take a good amount of energy to get running, but that's not bad. That's pretty good. It's a little bit wonky, but it's because I don't think the flow is at its maximum strength, and then it's not level either. I would imagine if I were to hang this up, it'd probably be a disaster. We'll find that out some other time. I don't have anywhere to hang it up right now. Okay, there's other things that need to be done, but there's some other things I wanted to talk about too. Oh, just like that. A cloud moved over and boom, over. What is that face? What's that face for? You're not, he wants to SIMMING. SM. No, SW. He wants to, he wants to do the thing. Not happening. Nope. Sorry, Turbo. Sorry, baby. It's too cold. It's too cold. I'm so sorry. Really didn't know how to spell swim just then. That's embarrassing. I went ahead and I grabbed the other fountain heads because I realized that if I'm trying to show a product, I should probably show everything that it can do. But, this lack of sun does make that difficult. So hopefully the sun will come back out and be able to do some more things with it. The rest of the heads just kind of pop onto here. At least that's what it says in the directions, that you can just pop them right on to this piece up here. This is the main adapter piece that all the other fountain heads snap into. So just, I guess that just goes right here like that. Yeah, that'll fit on there. And then have various nozzles basically to choose from that look like they click onto this. This, I would be more interested really in seeing how well that even works. That wasn't even in frame, was it? Because I think it's going to take a lot more water pressure to do much with the pieces like this. I thought there was another tube. Wasn't there another tube? Right? Because this one was right here. Then there was another, oh, it's right there. Here it is. There's the other piece. It's right there. That's okay. I mean, you don't have to have all three of them on there to get to see what it does. Okay, now just sit and wait for the sun to come back out. Okay, I'm not made of time. I went ahead and I grabbed a flashlight. We're just gonna just shine that on the solar panel, see if that does anything. Oh, it does. There we go. You have to hold it pretty steady. And adjust the intensity. Oh, it was already on full intensity. Okay, there we go. Oh, wow. That has some pretty good force to it, as long as you have a nice bright flashlight or some sun to shine on it. The basin is totally inappropriate size-wise though, right? Because the water's just splattering everywhere. But good to know that works. I'm gonna pop this off. Try a different fountain head. There's only 3 of them, right? Yeah. They look pretty much the same, but I know that they're not, right? There's gonna be some differences in the spray patterns. Snap on there. Just stand up straight too, that would be nice. Yeah, getting these heads on isn't that easy. They don't really just pop on. I should probably take this off when doing that. I'm just afraid that the more I do these things, the more likely I am to break the tubing on here because it doesn't feel all that powerful. Also looks like part of the pump is starting to come off there. Okay, flashlight. Okay, I mean, you get the idea, right? Again, not going to work for a tiny basin like this. Just going to be pumping the water out all over the place. Imagine if I had all 3 of the tubes set up on there. That wouldn't work at all. It would just be falling all over the place. It'd be spraying like crazy, going all over the place. And when you, oh, no, okay. I thought that wasn't going to come off very easily. That came off just fine. So that one had the most holes in it. And this one right here, well, pretty much looks identical to this one. Oh, I guess not quite. Thing is, with something this small, I just don't expect to see that much of a difference with these heads, but won't really know until you get the flashlight on them. There we go. Can you do it? Can you do it? Yay, pump the water out all over the table. Nothing? There we go. There we go. Yeah, they're all very similar. Not a huge difference between the different heads on this. Wish I had realized that I could just use the flashlight earlier. That would have made this whole thing go faster, so I'm waiting for the sun to come out. And then without, it's a nice drizzle. I actually don't mind that if it were straight, if it were standing up straight and then working. What happened? Why'd you quit? This is too hard for you? Is the flashlight not bright enough? I need to back the flashlight up apparently. Yeah, because it wasn't a wide enough spread apparently on the solar panel. Okay, yeah, that's nice. I suppose not really much to it. It's a solar powered fountain. And there's a lot of different things you could do with it. I think that practicality wise, using the tiers on it makes the most sense because it kind of diffuses everything better. So it's not going to be splattering all over the place like it is with these other fountain heads. So that's good to know. I could probably just even do this with it. That might reduce, actually that'd probably make the splatter worse, wouldn't it? Because it's up higher. If I were to put that down the lower tier, okay, there's a problem. So this is what I'm saying. That's why this thing needs suction cups on the bottom. Most of these little pumps usually have suction cups of some kind. Can you do it? Come on. Come on, there you go. Yeah, that's nice. It's always good to have options, right? But again, suction cups would have been a nice touch, because without them, this thing just doesn't want to stay in place. Maybe put some rocks around it, something like that. It would probably also help if the base was on here all the way. This doesn't look like an adjustable pump. It's just set at one level, right? Yeah, sometimes they have a little dial. I keep pushing it down like there's a suction cup. There's no suction cup. Okay, I've now dedicated like 15 or 16 minutes of the video to this insanely cheap solar-powered bird bath. I think that was more than enough time. For me, I just am interested in it because I really like the sound of water when I'm outside. And, you know, not too long, this is going to be shut down. Got to cover it up for the winter time. And then I have to drain my other fountain that's out here, which isn't even running right now. It's behind the fan. It's over there. You can kind of see it. See the blue pot? That's a fountain. But all the rain and everything tripped the GFCI on there, so it stopped running. And it'd just be nice to have something out here that trickles and is low maintenance. I don't have to worry about it cracking and breaking if there's a sudden freeze, just because it's inexpensive. And it's easy to just take something like this and just dump it, right? And you flip the solar panel over and don't have to worry about the pump running if there's no water in it. That is one thing that's important here, is that if there's there's not enough water, just going to run that pump dry. There's no sensors or anything in here. Not having suction cups, that's a deal breaker for me. It's such a simple thing to add on that would have made a tremendous difference for this thing, but not having those makes it pretty difficult to get this thing to stand up. And I've somehow wedged this into the, there we go. All right, flip that upside down. Done with the fountain. Okay, well, that was fun. Now I've fulfilled my curiosity about these solar-powered fountains, and know in the future to make sure that they have suction cups. As you know, wind and everything, that thing's gonna get knocked all over the place, especially if I have it hanging up somewhere. That's not gonna work out. I could, I'm sure, silicone or super glue something, some suction cups to the bottom of that. Anyways, this is bothering me, but it's that time of year where we're just getting the plants prepped and ready to go inside, not so much going for a cosmetic setup with all the plants, but it's a thing. All this rain, got leaves all over the place. The patio's nice and clean. It's covered in leaves, but it got a good rinse off. Real good rinse. I would like to go, this isn't gonna happen right now. I don't have time this week, but I would like to get to the store to get some more potting mix so I can get these things backfilled so they stop blowing around. And maybe pot up some more plants, these things. Jeez. Poor orchid. Get you flipped back up, right? Maybe even set this somewhere else. I've just been asking for trouble keeping that up top. It's gonna fall over, get broken. I have the sugar and spice arb down here. Oh, look how nice and hydrated the laurels are, finally. Such a dry year. The sugar and spice. Suya, right here. Was thinking, the plan had been anyways, to put this in that Tommy Bahama planter that, oh, I almost just stepped in dog poop. It blended in with the leaves. This one right here, the thing I just pulled the cordylan out of. So I think that's a nice color, right? It's a kind of a lighter green with the fun red stems on the inside. Let me just drop that in there for now. That was a bit rough. I'm sorry. Sorry, plant. I think I could have been a little bit more gentle there. Yeah, and if that were planted up higher, I think that would look nice. It's not going with all the tropicals right now, but again, that's just for a couple more weeks. This will make more sense when it's time to start arranging the plants for the winter time. It was bothering me having the empty container right there, so I figured I'd put that there. I have a bamboo coming in the mail that I am so excited about. It's one that does well in containers-ish. I mean, for a bamboo, as far as keeping containers and being able to keep it indoors. And I was thinking about maybe putting it in a pot and then moving it and just popping it in the house when it gets really cold outside. That might be the way I go with it. It's a really pretty bamboo. I've wanted it for years. And I've seen it for sale. I've seen plants that look like it for sale, but they just get sold as like rare variegated bamboo. And I'm like, no. I need an actual name on this. You need to actually tell me what it is if you're going to be charging these astronomical prices. I'll talk about it more when I actually get it. It's called Hiroshima. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a bamboo that was in the Hiroshima area, Hiroshima. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation. I know I am, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's from Japan. It's a beautiful variegated bamboo that is slow to spread. I think they say 16 feet high and only 3 to 4 feet wide in about 10 years. But it's not a clumper. It's still a spreader, but it isn't one that's supposed to be really aggressive. And it can take shadier conditions, specifically afternoon shade. And I have lots and lots and lots of afternoon shade out here. It's hardy to 6A, 6B. They say, I would imagine it's probably one of those bamboos where it's more like 6B into 7A, but it might defoliate, maybe die down to the ground if you have a prolonged cold below like 0, maybe 5 degrees, something around there. But it does well containerized, so it would be one that would be easy to just pull in the house when I have it in a pot and then bring back out. So only when it's, gonna be like ice storms, things like that, I'll be able to move it in and out. And I think that would look beautiful there. I talked about in the garden tour, which was not the video prior to this one. Video prior to this one I'm nervous about. So I'm talking about proven winners and some stuff they did that I didn't like. But hopefully there's not too much backlash on that. I was just giving my opinion on that one. But the video prior to that one, garden tour, was talking about how somebody had offered to send me some fake bamboo. And I was like, hey, if it's free, I can try it. Some artificial bamboo to pop into some containers out here for the winter time. But this one popped up. I've been waiting for it. I was like on a list, where they say email me when in stock. And I went ahead and ordered it. Not the most ideal time of year though. So that's why I was thinking in this container that I just put that sugar and spice arb in. That might look good there because the arb, it's not really doing it for me, but maybe when all the tropicals are inside, I'll have a different opinion. I probably will. Oh, the storms knock some things over. You got some wonky growth on you. How did that happen? You were standing up so nice and straight. I think I just need to move this over to the other spot, or it'll have to lean back towards the sun with the other cordyceps. Not going to set it right next to the other ones, though, just for pest control. This has been doing great. I know it doesn't look great. I need to clear out the lower portion of the trunk, but it is getting really thick and girthy. That's what I wanted. Sometimes these guys can be really scrawny. No, this is good. That's going to have a really big, beautiful trunk on this as it gets bigger. Let's come over here, have a look at the shade garden. How's everybody doing? It looks okay. Lots of fall foliage. This podophyllum, I thought that it was dying back for winter because it was all shriveled and I had been watering it, but it looks like a few days of rain it's popped back up, which concerns me because I have this much more expensive rare podophyllum over here that was doing the same thing, and I was just like, oh well, that's normal, it's just dying back for winter. But was it? If the other one apparently wasn't dying back for winter, that might not be a great thing. I'm seeing some life in there though, so that's okay. So many leaves. I don't mind it. I think it looks kind of nice, actually. Nice carpet of leaves over the garden. Acanthus and toad lilies. Toad lilies are looking better. They were kind of straggling. Weren't doing great there for a while from the drought. And Hakanakloa. Ooh, something came in here and did some damage. By something, I would imagine it was probably Turbo. I'm guessing it was the dog. Dog seemed like the best culprit. Most likely culprit. I don't know. Drought it wasn't their thing. But it's their first year in the ground, so hopefully being nice and hydrated moving into fall will do the trick and they'll come back nice and strong next year. That's the whole idea anyways behind planting things in the fall. If your ground isn't frozen, you can keep planting. There's no reason you can't keep putting stuff in the ground. As long as the ground isn't frozen, perennials, it's actually a great time to get them planted into the ground, because that way they aren't going through as much of a shock. Right, when you plant your perennials during the warmer part of the season, you're not only trying to get them to establish themselves, you're trying to get them to recover from being moved around and messed with. When you plant them when they're moving into dormancy or already dormant, they don't need a lot of extra water, a lot of extra care. They'll just hang out and sit still and then boom, be ready to go in the springtime. Which is good because I still have some stuff to plant. It went from being, oh, I don't want to plant these because we're in a drought, to, well, now the ground's just pure mud, so I need to wait a few days to get some of these things in the ground, which is good. I'll take it. So yeah, I'll be planting these up when they're not looking their best, but next spring, they'll flush back out and look great, and they won't have as much of a recovery to go through because, well, they weren't trying to recover and get grown at the same time, right? don't have to worry about as much of a moisture loss if you've done damage to the roots or if the plants have just been shipped and they haven't recovered from shipping or whatever conditions they've had to deal with. Uh-oh, banana. They'll just pick up from where they left off. I'm not shocked by that. That banana's kind of been on the struggle bus. I think I'm going to go through and just cut that, move into the grow space. I just realized I screwed something up royally. I made sure to keep my potato, my agave over here under the umbrella for all the rain, but I did not do that with my Echeveria, the Aeonium Pink Witch, which probably would have benefited from being protected from the moisture. I mean, it had the fronds here from the coconut over it, but I don't know if that's enough. I mean, it looks okay, but it can take them a while to start to show damage. I'm just happy new foliage is coming out looking good. I have a video that's going to come out talking about edema and stuff like that because this has had quite a bit of edema on it. I was worried it was scale, but I don't think that it was. Actually, it might have been a combination of scale and edema. That's probably what was going on there. I need to go back and make some corrections in that video because if it's edema, the spot shouldn't scrape off like that one just did. Well, that could be new. I have to look back at the footage, but you don't even know what I'm talking about. That video's not going to be out for a while. Look at how drastic of a change I'm seeing on these hibiscus flowers with the cooler temperatures. Whole different color. This one is First Lady, I believe that's what this one's called. When it was warm out, the flowers on this were a very vibrant pink with a hint of coral. And now that things have cooled off, there's this white with sort of a hint of violet in there. Of course, the flowers are smaller. Hibiscus have smaller flowers on them when the temperatures cool off. I'm wondering, do I have a picture or anything? I think I showed it at the beginning of the video, right? A few days ago when this had some larger flowers on it. It wasn't up close, but you get the idea. This looks like a completely different hibiscus. It's practically fluorescent. And we got some weird stuff going on in here too. That's not where that's supposed to be. That's supposed to be on the tip. Cold weather makes plants do weird things. It's interesting though. Don't usually see the anther all the way down in there. Stolen. Did it just fall off? No, it's actually growing out there. That's bizarre and kind of neat. Don't know why it's doing that. Stigma. That's the word. Got it all kinds of mixed up. The stigma is supposed to be up here on the tip. Like on this one over here. Bizarre. Wonder, that is probably just a temperature thing. I haven't been using any kind of weird fertilizers or anything over here. Sometimes when you're using things, even things that are more mild, like the Super Thrive, if you're using it too much, it can really give you some weird flowers on your plants, but I haven't used anything like that over here. So just attribute that to temperature. How bizarre. Pretty cool looking. Interesting. Oh, ew, my thumb looks like a toe. Oh, how did I forget about this during the garden tour? See that? Look at them. Look at those cute little pink balls. Proudberry, coralberry, right? Is that what that one was? Oh, gosh, I can't remember. I planted it so long ago. I've wanted one for years, put it in the ground, then totally forgot about it. Coralberry, right? Not a beautyberry. Beautyberries are the ones where the berries are along the stems, and the coralberry is this one. Not an edible, but the birds are supposed to like it. Look, it's got some nice big pink berries. I'm happy with that because this is its first year in the ground, and again, it was a drought year, and I didn't have irrigation up here until a few weeks ago, and there's no irrigation right here. It's down further down the line. I'm going to try and tap into this and get some more pressure up here for everything next year. Can't believe I forgot to talk about this area during the garden tour because there's not really that much to say, right? Because, well, everything started to die back. Heuchera is still looking good. Should probably just plant more of those. What is this one called? Primo Red Monster. Oh, also a lavender that I actually kept alive all year. I'm going to thank the drought for that. I think that's the only reason. And the strawberries, it's hard to lose them. They started to come back. I'm going to try and get back here. I don't know if do my legs stretch like this? I'm going to try. Okay. Mahogany Monster. That one. Doing really well. I could plant some more of those. The heck is that? Oh, it's just a tip from the Reflexa. Fell over here. I could root that up. I'm not going to. I don't need more. There's plenty of Reflexa over there. And I assume your tag is gone. But I think y'all probably heard of these before, right? Really pretty plant. I think it's a good option to have back here. The soil's a bit more dry, more clay-like. Seems to be happy. Could look better, but could also look a lot worse too. Oh, I just found an aeroid back here that I forgot I had set down. And then cold and storms. Uh-oh. It'll be okay. We'll treat it with some fungicide. Look at that pretty variegation. The cool weather coming through on the variegated Virginia creeper. I love that. How some of the variegated plants take on that hint of pink when temperatures cool off. That's beautiful. How's that Chitalpa doing? Looks okay. I think that's pretty normal. Didn't really do any kind of fall color, just started to drop leaves. That's drought stress. I'm going to mulch that up heavily this winter, even though some of y'all have told me that they'll die back to the ground completely. I know I've read that with other just regular Chitalpas. I just wasn't sure with that special one from Proven Winners. But other people have tried it and said that it'll die down to the ground and then boom, you get a huge plant the next year. I'd like to preserve as much trunk on that as I can. And oh, I lost a big chunk of the plant while I was coming over here. There's still green in there, so it's gonna be okay. I just come in here with a nice clean set of pruners and do some cutting back on this. I'm just gonna take that all off. You didn't even get to see what I was doing. I just cut the tip off. You see some green in there. I think this is, oh, well, that's probably not good up there either. I'm gonna cut that off, hit it with a fungicide, take that into the grow space. It's okay, it's gonna recover. This is, it's a silver blush anthurium. Been really sturdy, but I guess it got too cold over there. Probably too wet, this potting media that it's in. This is what it came with. It's not ideal for an anthurium, but it'd been doing well on it, so I just said, it's all right, we'll leave it like that. But then multiple days of rain, that was probably just too much. Although the roots look nice and green. If this had leaves on it, I would say this is a really great, healthy plant. Okay, I think that there were a couple other plants that were over here that I need to pull out and bring over because they've just been set over here because there was a spot where the sprinklers could hit them. They're plants in tiny little, these guys over here, small containers. So having them over here near a sprinkler head where they were just getting a gentle mist was good for them. But as you can see, a lot of them are full of grass and some creeping jenny and some big grass coming out of some of those. Kind of blocked my path here with this Fatsia, who is loving life, by the way. Look how happy this one is. So glad I remembered to pop this into a bigger pot this last spring because it just hadn't done anything in a couple years. You get those into a nice big container and they'll do a lot of growing for you. So we have a whole bunch of stable miners with all kinds of grass growing in their containers, but got some good growth out of them. And then have the agave over here, which was another one that I meant to move under the umbrella with all the rain, but it's in a really good, well-drained mix. This is the, oh, it's a Perrite Grandkids. That's the one. It's a real big, nice shape on it. That's ready for a repot. That did a lot of growing. I think actually everything over here did a lot of growing. It's just kind of hard to tell because of all the weeds and grass growing inside of everything. What I'm really impressed by are these yuccas right here. These are the recurvifolias. They did a good amount of growing. Look at this one. It's got a lot of growth on it. I was so excited when I got these because I had been trying to find them for sale for years. And then Plant Delights had them. The variety is called Mellow Yellow. See that? There's the tag. I didn't really show it to you. Mellow Yellow. Recurvifolias are nice because they have a really graceful habit to them. I'll show you my other recurvifolias for reference, or at least one of them. I think I'll be able to get into a shot over here. So here's an older one back there. See the graceful, soft habit, and they get a small trunk on them. They don't get terribly big. They're hardy, I'd say 6 to 7, but really below zero if you have any frost, not frost, freezing conditions, moisture. You could lose the trunk, but they'll come back from the roots. If you want the entire plant to stay evergreen with the stem and everything, then above zero is best for them. But they just look kind of like a cold hardy Dracaena or ponytail palm, which is why I wanted these fun variegated ones because these give a much more tropical vibe than just the ones with the plain old green leaves on them, right? But the only person who was selling them was Plant Delights. Been trying to find these for years, or really the one that I really wanted for years, I think was called Banana Boat, or maybe it was Margaritaville. I'm not sure, can't remember, but it's one of those. And it's basically the same kind of variegation on it. It is reputed to not be a very good grower though, whereas this one I think is supposed to be a much healthier, more vigorous grower, which I would say is definitely true. Look at all the growth on this. They weren't small when I got them, but I would say that they've easily doubled to maybe even tripled in size, which is so great and so encouraging. I won't be leaving these out this winter because they're still way too small and way too delicate. I'm going to want to wait till these start to get some girth, you know, around the trunk when they even start to trunk. Then I'll leave them out. But what's nice about having to wait for that is you get to let them slowly experience more and more cold every year. So this year I'll probably just move them in when I move the houseplants in. And then the next year, maybe I'll leave them out a little bit longer until I'm slowly letting them take temperatures into the teens and then into the 20s. Only reason I'm being that delicate for a plant that's, you know, pretty hardy, it's a yucca, is because, well, they're just not an easy one to come by. It's been on my wish list for a really long time. So may as well take my time with it, right? And not rush to try and make sure that's going to survive the cold. I don't know if I'll be doing them in the ground or not. That's a ways down the road to even be thinking about that. But yeah, now we can have a better look at them. Look at all that color. Oh, it's actually kind of hard to see it on camera. You can sort of see it more on those tips. That variegation on there and those nice long strappy leaves, the monopodial growth. That's not something you see on a lot of plants that are good zone 6B to 10B. That's what they're saying. I would agree with that. Well, actually, I don't know. Sometimes when plants are variegated, they're not quite as cold hardy. But the regular recurvifolia, pretty dang cold hardy, and they give you a really nice exotic tropical look. And it's something you can keep in a container and keep them outside most of the year for those of you who are in zone 6 and zone 5, and you just got to scoot them inside during the really cold snaps. But as long as it's above like 10, because they're in a container, right? So you got to be a little bit more careful with how much cold you let the plant experience. But as long as it stays above 10, you can have them outside. If you're gonna have ice storms, move them in. With these, I'll be waiting. Yeah, I already talked about that. Gonna wait. They're not ready to go in the ground or stay in a container just yet. They do feel like they're ready for a repot. So it's not the time of year for it. But this one specifically, the base of that container is really stiff and bulging. But yeah, I'm not gonna be doing that. Seems like a bad idea. Oh, look at all that sun. So much sun. Is it going to be enough? Can we do anything with this? Won't know because the thing doesn't want to stand up. Having the bigger base on there, I bet, would make more sense because it would be able to stand upright on its own. You going to do anything? Where's the shade coming from on this? Point that towards the sun? Huh? Well, that's weird. If that's not enough sun, then I don't know what's going to be enough sun because it's very bright. Oh, it's probably because I'm supposed to take this thing off. Yeah, all right, so it's doing something. That's not much. Really? It's really bright. Like, really, really bright. Huh, I don't know. Even when I hold it straight up, like, it's bright, blinding. I need my sunglasses, mostly because of everything reflecting off the patio, but that's not a very good sign. But hey, if you got a strong flashlight, we know that it works, right? Maybe it's because there's just the slightest bit of cloud in front of the sun. That's not very much, though. I think that's kind of pathetic. Okay, well, had fun with all that stuff. The rooter, is that what we're going to call it? The grow light hydroponic thing in the house from Temu. And then this thing, I fulfilled my curiosity with solar-powered bird baths and fountains. Got some rain. Things are getting cleaned up. Plants are getting adjusted and prepped to go inside, and got a nice update on some of the stuff going on out here. Really happy about the coral berry down there. It looks so pretty. I've been trying to zoom in on this bird. It's freaking huge, but I keep losing it. Okay, it's gone. It went somewhere over there. I don't know if you got a good glimpse at it. I think it was a hawk. I never got to have a good look at it through the screen. I was just trying to find it when you're zoomed in. Things are moving around. Can't get a good look at it. I don't know why I got excited about it. There's hawks out here all the time. But just, it's because it's time to go. Been talking too much. The brain's not working. Turbo, you gonna say goodbye? You say bye-bye, baby? Oh, you're such a handsome dog. Good boy, Turbo. Anyways, hey, thanks for hanging out. Couldn't get much done outside because, you know, rain, but needed it. Needed it so badly. I think that it was worth it because it got me some time to not feel bad about being indoors, getting stuff done in the house. Got things washed off. I can breathe better outside. It was so dusty. It was hard to breathe. I'd come outside and just feel an itch in my throat immediately from all the pollen and mold and everything that hadn't been washed off. This is good. Finally, rain. Yeah, hopefully we get to head up some nurseries or something next week because I need to get some evergreens to put into some containers. Hopefully they even have some stuff left. If not that big of a deal. Had a good time playing around with things and unboxing them, getting to check out some plants. Hopefully everything's going well with y'all. Comment down below, say hi, what's going on in your gardens. Do you have, like, have you tried the solar powered fountains what are your thoughts on them? Especially if you've been able to find ones that have a battery backup on them, which I don't know if that's really a thing with something like this, but I think it would be nice. It would be a nice touch, just like suction cups. Suction cups would have been a great touch. Anyways, yeah, time to go. As always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye.